I'm going to show you what the impact is going to be on your business. And then we're going to talk about how to actually do it as a gym owner. Who should you be leveraging to capture this information and take action, and what kind of action can you take? And it's all about a customer health score. So we're going to dive in to say, how is this applicable for gyms? Today's agenda, really, I'm just going to talk about how to calculate churn for members. And then really, like, the point is, how can we prevent members from leaving us by being proactive, by monitoring better? And then how does this actually all unfold and give you the tools to execute almost immediately? And let's get started. So about churn, why is this so important? Yeah, okay, I lost 2, 3, 5 members, no big, I'll get 20 tomorrow, right? So just in general, the way you calculate churn so that you can benchmark against one another, for example, and say, is this too much? Is this too little for gyms in general? Is you take, okay, how many members left each month and how many did I have at the beginning of the month? And that's my churn. That's my gross churn rate. Now, why is that? It's all right, 5 members, no big deal. I get 50 every month. What's the big deal? Here's the big deal. At the beginning, let's compare a gym that only has 5% churn versus 20% churn. It's another gym. And initially, like in 1 year, you don't see like a lot of like a big dent. You don't see the big difference. But if you go over 5 years, you're starting to see that after 5 years, the gym with the lower retention rate actually has 40% higher revenues than the one that keeps on losing more gym members every month. And then so their growth rate is much higher because every gym member, the membership is consistent. So you kind of want to continuously increase it over time. And then at some point, the addressable market is so big, it's so far behind. Those are the ones that are able to expand to more locations, more sites, and really make a bank out of it. So that's why we kind of want to handle that problem and minimize it as much as possible. Now, easier said than done. In the last 20 years, what we've typically seen people tell us that in order to minimize churn, we need to absolutely nail the customer experience. Gym should smell nice. You have all the equipment, best programs, but I'm going to tell you here, it's not enough. If you were to have a leg up over your competitors, because like at least my city, well, my block, I would say there's like 3 gyms. Okay. So we really want to think about, what do we do a little differently than everybody else, and how can we get ahead of the issue? And so the good news is that it's already been solved for you. When we think about customer success, it's not just elevating the experience. It's about also making sure that the members get an outcome. That's how we achieve customer success. And that's essentially how we reduce churn. So like I said, in previous 20 years, it's all about the experience. Nowadays, it's really about not just the experience, but also the outcome. And in 2013, when a company called Gainsight came up with this formula, they actually said, customer success equals customer experience plus customer outcomes. And then after a few years, somebody smart said, no, it's not plus. It's completely dependent, because if they get 0 outcomes, as nice as it is to come to the gym, they will stop coming. And everybody has goals. It's not always about losing weight. It's not always about getting ripped. Sometimes it's just being strong or whatever it is that I don't know, but they need to achieve both goals. All right. So how do we keep track of, like, what does it mean, outcomes? It's really about making a good balance between having a relationship with these members versus getting them to get value from the membership. And the travel industry is really very, very good at making sure they nail that balance. So if you think about those, when you go to a hotel and you're a VIP membership, you start getting a VIP treatment. You get the membership points, you get like a little bit of a special treatment. People get to know you. And I know, like, there's some places like restaurants, if I go a lot, and like they start treating me like a VIP. Here's the table that you like. They know you by name. And it kind of feels like, oh, this is my home. And you start coming more because it feels like this is more than just a place I go to do X. This is actually my hangout place. And so it's really important to kind of nail the balance between the two. I used to go to a gym 24 hours. I got a lot of value, actually. I got very strong. I started lifting weights, like very heavy weights. I don't look like it, but I actually a pretty strong person. But when I came, I remember my trainer, if we didn't have a session that day, he wouldn't say hello to me. And it felt super awkward, like him ignoring me that day. I was like, why is this guy ignoring me? Like, it was so weird. And eventually the experience was so awkward that I felt like I don't even understand why this is happening. I don't know, there's something wrong with this guy. I just left the gym. I was just like, I don't want to, it was just too awkward, right? So we actually need to create a balance between relationship and value that we provide to our members. Relationship really stands for the customer experience, and outcome stands for value. And just so you know, software companies do the same thing. I work with a lighting equipment company that sold like specialized equipments to building that you can monitor with like your phone. All of these companies are starting to embrace these type of methodologies. And so I think this would be super applicable for you. If you liked what you've heard so far, that's awesome. More coming in a second here, but in the meantime, I want you to click that like button so that YouTube knows that this is great content and you can start sharing it with others. The question is, if we need a kind of like customer health score to gauge, are we providing the right relationship? Is our customer member is getting the right value? And so if we have a score that can kind of monitor how healthy are they from a customer success perspective, that balance between relationship and value, those are the kind of questions you want the score to give you answers to. Because then even like either as the retention specialist or the trainer or the coach, you can actually have visibility to those VIP members, the ones that you're actually pursuing to retain. How healthy are they in their journey to get maximum value and be more likely to stay with your gym? So these are some of the questions that I think should definitely have your customer health score answer. So what is it really? So a customer health score, it's kind of like a score that we give every member. And when the score is super high, not only are they going to renew their membership, but the highest it is, they're going to refer, advocate, or opt into more services that you offer. Because if they have a good experience, they get some outcomes, they're going to do more with you. If they have an awesome relationship with you, but something is off, like it's not working out well, they're going to let you know if something's not working out for them. And they're not going to just leave the gym like, okay, this is not working out. It's like 3 other ones in my area. They're actually going to tell you what's not working out, and they're going to try to collaborate with you. Now, if you don't do anything or you don't have maintained the relationship to kind of align expectations properly, they might leave you anyways. But if they don't get any value, they don't have a trusted relationship with you or your coach or as a gym owner, they're just going to leave because there's nothing in it for them. For me, I obviously had a high value. I was getting amazing results, just so you know, even though it was 24 hours, amazingly like that. I actually left to another gym because I didn't feel like I had that connection with my coach, even though he was amazing. So that's where you are. You kind of want to say, all right, if I have a map of all of my entire portfolio of members, where do they stand? Do I have most of them here? Do they have most of them here? Where is it? And what do I need to improve as a gym owner in changing my processes, in coaching my trainers to have almost, the majority or like a larger bulk of the members move into this bracket. So it gives you visibility, but also as a coach, I could say where most of my members are and what are the areas that I need to work on in order to move them to green. Because it is a process, right? As soon as they sign up, they're not here. They might be excited, but they're not here yet, right? Because they haven't seen any value. They're kind of like between this and this, they don't know. You need to move them into this journey to get to here. And the score would tell you where are they in that journey and what do you need to work on in order to get them there. And it's so important because we know for a fact that to reduce churn, we need to be able to identify at-risk members early. And there's hard statistics around why this is so important. You can like literally reduce churn by quite a bit by just being able to identify these risky members early enough in the process to be able to do something about it. And customer success is really all about being proactive. Why do other businesses track the health score of customers. So most of them would do, okay, let's just predict if any members are going to leave us. Some of them actually use the score to identify, if somebody's doing really, really well, they might approach them for advocacy. Some of them will increase their upsell opportunities so you can offer them more services. They have more aptitude when they're in green, they have more aptitude to purchase more from you. And in general, if we build the health score correctly, it will pinpoint the areas that we need to work on for each member to move them higher in the score. So it should not just be about renewal and like preventing churn, but it could be a great solution to tell us or our coaches what do they need to work on. So with all that, okay, like that's really nice, but how do you calculate it? Just in general, at a high level, I'm going to show you how a customer health score should be calculated. First of all, the essence of it is to be able to answer these type of questions, right? There should be like a recipe around that. In general, remember how we had the quadrant relationship versus value. We want to calculate the quality of the relationship. Here's like a couple of examples of things that you can put in there. For example, what's the strength of the relationship and how personally do we know that person? There's a ton of members that we don't even know. They just come in, they come out. We don't know their names. We have a very weak relationship with them. When they come in, the person at the front door have no idea who they are. They don't know them by name. They don't, like it's very common actually. So here we're getting into like, okay, gradually we get to know them more and more. And I would say 4 is plenty, but every now and then we actually become amazingly strong relationship and maybe even getting to be personal friends with them. I'm not expecting or telling you that you need to be friends with all your members, but it's kind of like interesting to have a map and say how many of our members actually have personal friendships with our staff that if we want to ask for their help with something, they have more of the aptitude to advocate for certain events or on Instagram or whatever it is. Like these are our quick wins when we want to try something new. So it's good to be able to identify them. And I added a little bit like of a description about what does each of them mean? Because I think like, sometimes it kind of be too vague. So when you give it to your coach or your retention specialist, kind of want to tell them, I want you to actually code what is your level of relationship with each one of those members. And it'll give you a sense of, did they connect with all of them? And if they didn't, they need to start connecting with them because that's like the basics of that formula. The better relationship we have and the more value they get, the more they are having the aptitude not only to become a member for a long time, but recommend us to others. Same thing for the relationship strength. A weak relationship is that they never text us. They don't update us on, what they ate. They don't really trust us in terms of just executing on the program. So what if you could have that score early on in that 90-day program, like in week 1 or 2, if we score that member as weak, we can get proactive and start having like a little bit more effort put into making into a okay or a good relationship, but being more proactive. But if as a gym owner or a member coach or a retention specialist, I don't really have visibility to what's going on with all the members that I manage, I might miss a few and I might lose them. So the whole thing here is to be able to track and score and see quickly which are the members that are at risk so I can have proactive action to move them into a higher score. So that's on relationship. Now, on the other side, as you recall, we have the value that they're supposed to be getting from their membership. And so Dave was really helpful in kind of aligning what would that be in terms of realization client goals, right? Are they doing the things that they're supposed to be doing? Do you have like a reinforced behavior? Do we see them being more consistent? Are we able to change the behavior? And so if we're seeing that maybe they're going to the gym more regularly now, great, but they're not really doing anything on the nutrition compliance, that's a red flag. Now, if as a gym owner, I see that, 30% of the members don't comply with the nutrition guidelines, and they don't send us daily photos and anything like that, then that's something I need to talk about with my staff That's something that we need to promote, what the importance of, maybe do a webinar, maybe do, I don't know, like there could be things that I can do to promote that. And same thing goes to everything else, right? How do we know that they have a unique experience? What is that we do in terms of customer experience that's so much better than all of our other competitors? So those are the kind of things that I'd like you to think about potentially putting in as things that you would track so that you can get better visibility to what's going on with each of my members. Before we continue, don't forget, subscribe to our YouTube channel and smash that notification button so that you don't miss out on any new videos. Using a customer health score. So the goal is really to update the member. What you need is like to just get started is maybe have like a Google workbook that you share with everyone, and they just add all of their members that they track and own, and like it's part of their portfolio. Have each coach fill out all the names of their members or retention specialists. And then what we want to do, like as a starting point, just update that every month. That's like as a starting point. Ideally, I would even recommend like after every time they meet with a member, or we're supposed to have a cadence touch point with the member, that they can update it on an ongoing basis. But if you think that that would be too much, fine, just have them do it once a month. That's already better than nothing. What you want to do to hold them accountable is to say, send a reminder to update it, and then set up a time to do a one-on-one with them to review the updated spreadsheet. I think that kind of like, if I know I need to do some work and it's like time consuming to score everyone, but I know that you're going to take a look at it and that's important for you, I'm more likely to do it. I think where we err sometimes is we have processes and there's no like, nobody's doing anything with it. It's just a process to have a process. The only time that this would be super, super valuable for you is if actually you analyze the results. So not only analyze the result with your gym owner, but I would just say, if you wanted to take the next level, what I recommend to most executives that I work with is take all of the results from all the spreadsheets, consolidate them, and then create a dashboard for yourself. So I'll show you an example of that in a minute. The next, we kind of want to analyze it at the members level, decide next steps. I'll show you some examples, and then at the gym level, that's where you would consolidate everything. And these are some action items that you can take based on the results that you're seeing. Okay, you can offer more programs, request advocacy if they're super green, invite them to events if you feel like the relationship score is a bit low, give you a chance to get to know them. And if they are, at the gym level, you're seeing that low relationship score, then you can promote more events where you can get a chance to know them better, or even have the gym owner reach out personally to specific members that are at risk just to, solidify that relationship level.
Out of all the businesses that you've seen, what percentage do you think of those businesses like actually have these client health scores like before you even meet them?
So it depends on the industry, but it's extremely popular right now.
Yeah, I know you mentioned earlier about like the attrition rate, right? And how like typically speaking, like that's how we look. Do you think one of the things that I was thinking about over the course of time is like how much money do you think that, or how much revenue that can be saved from having this client health score?
You should be able to reduce your churn rate by at least half.
I love
whatever your churn is. Yeah.
Love it. So tens of thousands of dollars each year.
100%. It's like, oh, I have no idea who's going to leave versus I have some suspicion about who's going to leave, and let me be proactive about it. Like, what do you think is going to happen? Okay, so this is how you would kind of like manage the process. I encourage you to come up with a process and stick with it for 3 to 6 months, because it takes time for everybody to say, oh, it's not just a new fad. This is actually a thing that's not going away, and kind of reinforce the behavior, just like you would with a new gym member that needs to all of a sudden start training 3 times a week. Your team, this is going to be a new process. They're not used to it. They don't know how serious you are with it. So by really being diligent, pre-scheduling these meetings with your team members ahead of time, reminding them, making it clear that this is expected, reviewing it with them will reinforce the behavior. And again, this is like not a one and done, although the first time you do it, you would have such an aha moment and you will be all over, hopefully, taking action in increasing engagement, relationship, and outcome for your members. As you could see, the scores itself that I proposed before actually were ranging from 1 to 10 or 1 to 20. And so the idea is if they're getting a lot of value, meaning the ROI is above 14, but the relationship is low, they'll probably go to a competitor. So You can work with those members on increasing the level of personal relationship with them by saying hi, by high-fiving them, by calling them if they haven't seen them for a while, texting them, just being super warm with them. Have the owner of the gym actually call it, whatever it is, like go above and beyond to kind of move them towards this amazing relationship. If you have those that are not coming into the gym, you don't even know them, well, then you need to fix this. So we'll talk about what you can do on the red ones. You can see, like, you can actually put them in brackets and you can create a portfolio dashboard to say, okay, out of all the members that I have in my gym, or all the members that the trainer has or the retention specialist has as a portfolio, where do most of them sit? You can actually start comparing one retention specialist to the next, one coach to the next, and see, do you have some coaches or some retention specialists that actually have more of their members in green than others? And so maybe it's a coaching moment for the coach on how to, embrace the program and really see those little elements come through, because some of them are going to be great at getting results and some of them are going to be great at a relationship. And it's not always, you always need to coach your team. Okay, so what can we do if they're in red, yellow, or green? So Dave, maybe you can talk about, like, what are some of the things that we can do as gym owners or coach our team to do?
Yeah. So the way we talked about this, and it's kind of thinking about this from the red would be more so like from the exit standpoint. So a person who comes to you and you want to win back that client, right? So if they're in the red, then that means we want to activate the win back strategy. An exit interview, when you set up to have an exit interview with an individual, you've got two opportunities. Opportunity one is that you have the opportunity that you can save the individual, and that you can basically listen to where they're coming from to be able to understand like where they're at. And then hopefully you can even ascend that individual to sell them into the correct service bracket. Or you have option number two, where maybe the person leaves, but you get a better understanding in regards to like them, so you can improve your services as a whole. So you get those two opportunities that happen kind of in that red zone. The next piece would be the yellow. So you get to strengthen relationships and awareness to results.
So the yellow part depends on where they are in the yellow. If they are getting results, but you don't know their name, or like they don't have any friends at the gym, or they're not really coming to events, they're like this lone wolf kind of person, they're complaining every now and then, whatever it is, that means that they are actually really committed to getting results. They are seeing results, but they're not really having a great time at your gym. On the other hand, they might be super friendly, very nice people. You know what them by name. They told you about their everything, right? Their kids' names, but they're not coming consistently. They're not sending you pictures of their nutrition. They're not really committed to the program. They're not really seeing results. I would say recommit them, right? Have that engagement conversation. So that's why the score is so awesome, because it's not just about being yellow. Like, what is the area that I need to push? Is it on me to kind of create that relationship, or is it on me to re-enroll them in the possibility of my program? So that's really about the yellow.
Yep.
And a lot of times we are, oh, this guy's amazing. No problem. I don't have a playbook for that. Ding dong, your opinion is wrong. You actually need to do something about that. The green means that I can be proactive about, hey, go online, give me like a review, or hey, do you know other people that might be interested? You're doing so great, or suggest advanced programs. The point is, customer success is about proactivity. There's no way they have a score and you don't have an action item. I think it's really important to define, like, what is your strategy around red customers, yellow customers, and green customers based on the quadrant.
One thing we always talk about too, Ari, is like, typically speaking, when you're looking at a program, is like people leave you for two reasons. They leave you for proximity and they leave you for plateau. It goes exactly what you're saying. Proximity means how close they feel to you.
Yep.
In regards to like the check-ins and those pieces. And then plateau is like whether they're getting the results or whether they're getting the outcomes that they're searching for. And so those are the two reasons to kind of echo what you're saying. I knew if it was me and I was in that situation, what I would probably try to do is I would go in with a giving hand, because a lot of times, like when they leave you or when they aren't responsive, they feel a little guilty in the process. You got to, already knows where I'm going with this, is that like what I would really try to do is I would attempt to make a win back. So I would set up to have a one-on-one meeting with them, and I would tell them like, hey, let's just refocus, let's reset our goals. And then directly from that standpoint, then you can talk to them about maybe putting them in the appropriate program, because it sounds like they need more support, right?
Yeah.
Or if you had somebody like Irene, if you had gotten injured at the gym, I would have said, sweet, you still got to eat though, right? So I would have offered you nutrition coaching in the situation.
Exactly.
to be able to bridge the gap. So then now your coach is still in your pocket. And then from that standpoint, then it makes it easier for us to bridge the gap so you get back. So then they don't have the opportunity for that proximity, right? There's no distance that's there. And exactly. So, and to be honest with you, you probably create a better relationship with an individual by being able to solve a different set of problems, and then they can come back into the other side. So now you gain trust, and then now the upsell when they come back in is a lot easier.
I love that. I love that. That's so great. And I would recommend all of you to start coaching your team members on how to deal with these kind of situations. The idea here, like he said, is like add value, maintain the relationship, and find those pockets. And so if you have a lot or enough members that are like not responding, think about, what was the reason, and can we create these processes for when they start falling off the wagon, so to speak? And what should we do? Like, how do we find out why, and how do we support them if they had an injury? How do we support them if they're like, it's too much for them, and kind of keep that trusted advisor relationship with them? I would highly recommend like having a whole overview of what does your portfolio looks like? Where are your strengths? Where are your weaknesses? Maybe create like a list of why they're stopping to be in communication. If you have some engagement issues, what are the reasons? And start creating strategies to re-engage or reinforce some of the program's processes that are maybe weaker in your gym so that you can prevent these in the future. And that's more or less all I had for you today for health scores. Hopefully you're like super excited to start using that and kind of give it a try at your gym and see what opens up for you. I know I am. And then if you do get some amazing results, let me know.